Hello, Fish Faithful. I'm Kurt Semder, and this is Marlins Daily on the Fan Arch Network. We've got a lot to talk about here as we start the All-Star break and we start All-Star week. And what a weekend, right? That was some performance there by the Marlins over the weekend. Not the way you want to close out the first half, that's for sure. Miami swept Seattle. Looked like everything was getting off to a great start on this homestand, and then just this weekend did not go according to plan at all. Getting swept by the Guardians, 3 straight games, losing all 3 to wrap up the first half, going 3-3 on this 6-game homestand here. And look, they didn't get blown out in any of these games. I mean, they were in it in all of them here, but the big headline I think coming out of this was the offense just did not get the job done. And you could see kind of what we've been talking about a little bit with this lineup, that they run into these problems where sometimes they can't get that big hit, or they, have trouble kind of putting together enough hits in some games, and it hurts them because they'll get 8 hits, 7 hits in a game, but not able to, bring runs across the plate. And you look at this series, I mean, they scored just 5 runs in 3 games. They had just 6 extra base hits. That's not going to get it done in this kind of situation, and it hurt them big time in this series. They had some key spots all across the weekend where they really could have either gotten out to a good start, or they could have gotten back in front late in the game, and they just weren't able to get the big hit. We've been praising Otto Lopez big time. He's allowed to have a bad weekend, and he had a bad weekend. He went 0 for 12, didn't get a hit. Batting average dropped about 11 points or so, I believe. So, look, he still had a great first half. He still deserves to be an all-star, and I can't wait to see him in Philly tomorrow night. But the point being, look, just not the way you wanted to wrap up. You're hoping, the Marlins had such a great first half here. They playing so well in June, started July off really well, right in the mix of things, and just end the first half on a bit of a sour note here, losing these 3 games. The pitching was good again. Sandy Alcantara pitched well, not great, but pitched well on Friday. Yuri Perez in his first start since the perfect game. He gave up 8 hits. He struggled a little bit in this one. He only went 6 innings, but he only gave up 2 runs. Sandy only gave up 3 runs. Those are games you should be able to either win or, have a shot at winning, and they did. I mean, they tried to come back on Friday, but they fell short, losing 3-2, and but only scoring 1 run for Yuri on Saturday is just not going to work. And Sunday's loss 5-2. I mean, it's just a game that you would have liked to have had, and unfortunately, just didn't happen. And because of that, Miami goes into the All-Star break on a 3-game losing streak, and they are 4 games back in the National League East, 52-45, which I got to be honest, even the most positive and the most optimistic Marlins fan 6 weeks ago probably did not see coming that this team would be sitting here at the All-Star break and be sitting right in the 3rd wild card spot. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's really more than you could have hoped for when we were in the middle of April and May and things looked really bad. But here they are right in the mix, and they're exciting right now, and hopefully they can turn things around after the All-Star break and kind of forget about this 3-game series and how things went here. And when we talk about this 3-game series and we talk about what's been going on with the team, the way things wrapped up, I really didn't love it. And the big thing that I didn't love was Sunday, because we talked about how Max Meyer was supposed to start this game. He was scheduled to start on Sunday. Marlins all-star pitcher. He's supposed to, go to the All-Star game, but he's replaced in the All-Star game because he's going to pitch on Sunday. So he's taken out of the All-Star game, replaced by a Philadelphia Philly. I'll get to that later. And then they make the decision after that announcement has been made, and after that decision has been made by Major League Baseball, they make the decision that he's not going to start on Sunday. And you think, oh, well, maybe he's not starting on Sunday because they want him to pitch in the All-Star game, or they want no. It's much more ridiculous than that, in the sense that they're worried about his workload. Manager Clayton McCullough said they skipped it for rest, give him some extra rest heading into the All-Star break. give him some more time to relax and get healthy, not necessarily healthy, but just rest the arm and take care of himself and be ready for the second half. Okay. He's 27. He's thrown 108 innings. Yes, I get it. He's thrown more innings than he's thrown in his career to this point. I mean, 64 innings last year was the tops. So he's way past that already at this point. You want him to be healthy and you want him to pitch well in the second half. I understand all of that. My issue here is that this smells like the same analytic mumbo jumbo that we saw last week when they took Yuri Perez out of the game in the perfect game. It's that same kind of front office analytic stuff that just continues to get in the way of situations that actually happen in real baseball. And here, looking at this, you have a team that, yes, you didn't know you were going to be looking down the barrel of a sweep on Sunday. I understand that. But you have a team that's playing well, that's got a lot of confidence, that's just rolling. And you want to end the first half on a solid note. And you've got your ace going on Sunday. And you got him pitching to wrap things up. You've already made the decision. The decision's already been made. He's not pitching in the All-Star game. And you don't pitch him. And you go with a bullpen game and you lose 5-2. And it just feels like a missed opportunity. And when you have a team like this that is more than likely, if they're going to be in a playoff race down the stretch, it's going to be a tight one. I don't think anybody sees Miami making the playoffs by running away from the field, by just blowing past Philly and Atlanta and taking the division, or by blowing past all these other teams competing for NL wildcards. It's going to come down to one or two games. And you don't know when those games are going to come up where you wish you had it. And I feel like this might be one of those games where you go, I wish we had started him. I wish we had put our best pitcher on the mound. We had tried to get that win, avoided this sweep, got the win before the All-Star break, and went into the break on a bit of a high note. And I'm all for protecting pitchers and protecting their arms and making sure that people stay healthy. But I just feel like a lot of times, a lot of these decisions that are made higher up get in the way of pitchers actually being successful. And it's not necessarily that they're babying them, but just it feels like we're being overprotective. And you're skipping him in this start, I think equally is going, well, yes, it may help him to stay healthier toward the end of the season, but I don't think it's going to matter all that much. It's one start. It gives him, yes, some extra time off, but you could start him on Sunday and just push him back like you're going to at the end. You don't have to bring him right back at the start of the All-Star break. You know what I'm saying? You could start him on Sunday and then let the rotation run its way out and he can pitch the fourth or fifth game after the break and give him that extended rest on that side. I don't like this. And the other part of it is true for Max Meyer. He could have pitched in the All-Star game. And it's his first career All-Star game. And he didn't get to pitch in it because he was supposed to pitch on Sunday. And instead, not only does he not get to pitch in the All-Star game, he didn't pitch on Sunday anyway, and he's going to get this super long rest. He missed out on it. He's going to get to go do the festivities we mentioned, but I don't know, man. I don't love this. I don't love this. I don't love the way they're approaching the pitching right now. Certain pitchers get to pitch as long as they want and stay in the game, and other pitchers, they're worried about the workload. And if you start worrying about the workload and you start doing more bullpen games than you want to, those are the kind of things that can bite you in the butt when we start talking about the playoff races and we get down to September and the big division games and that sort of thing later on in the year. So I hope it doesn't come back to hurt him. I hope Max stays healthy all season and pitches well down the stretch. But I would have thrown him on Sunday. I would have let him go out there, do his normal thing. And I think if he had done his normal thing, I think Miami would have won the game on Sunday. We'd be feeling much better about the team heading into the All-Star break than we do right now. So front office, I don't love what was coming down there, if that came down from you or if that came down from the manager. Either way, I think it's just, I think we're overthinking this a little bit. So I don't know. Don't love it. Now, that all being said, I want to give the front office a little bit of credit because we did hear from the Athletics' Ken Rosenthal that the Marlins front office, through some sources that came out, that it appears, anyway, that they have made a decision on what they're going to do at the upcoming trade deadline. And surprise, surprise, they're actually look like they're going to keep the team together. It looks like they're going to go out there and get some players. And most importantly, it looks like they're going to keep Sandy Alcantara in the rotation and keep him on the team. And I'm very pleased, and I have to give the front office a little bit of credit here for whether they let this report get out or whether they at least made the decision early of what they're going to do here. They're going to go for it. And that's what you want. And I know every Marlins fan was thinking the same thing and worried. We talked about it last week, worried that, yeah, they're playing great, but this team always seems to sell off the parts. And now it seems like they're not going to do that. And by making the decision, it seems like that they're going to keep Sandy there. That means that you're going to add a pitcher, not subtract. They traded Edward Cabrera in the offseason, sure, but they're going to add a pitcher. They're going to try to add a pitcher. They're going to try to add someone to the bullpen, and they're going to try to add some bats. And, the other part of the report that was interesting, and I think it goes back to what we talked about last week, is they're not expected to make a big splash. They're not expected to bring in a big contract. They're not expected to bring in that person that's going to, cost them a lot of money 3-4 years down the road. They're going to make small moves. They're going to add pieces here or there that make sense for their future plans, but also will help the ball club. And I think that's smart. I especially think that's smart with a team that is really playing well right now as a cohesive unit, and you don't want to mess with that too much. So let's see what they do. We're going to be talking a lot about the trade deadline as we make our way forward here, but I give the front office some credit here for making the decision and letting it get out there that they're going to go for it. And I hope that the fan base really rallies behind that, because that's what you want from your team, and that's what you want from your front office, and then you're hoping that they're at least going to go for it. So as Miami sits here at the All-Star break in a playoff spot, I mean, if the season ended right now, we'd be talking about the Marlins are in the playoffs. They got a wild card series coming up. And, I mean, no one saw that coming. I can't imagine anybody saw that coming, especially after the first 2 months of the season. So they're there. They're in the spot. They're doing it. And, again, great job by the front office, at least getting us to that point. And we're going to talk a lot leading up to, we're going to break down a lot of these possible trade candidates, because what you've seen the last couple of weeks, similar to what Miami has done over the last 6 weeks, you've seen a lot of teams around the league kind of change up how they're going to approach things. Boston has on a great winning streak. They look like they're in it now, so maybe I don't think they're going to be selling off parts like people thought they would. That takes a player like a Wilson Contreras or someone like that out of the running. There are some other teams out there that are playing poorly that maybe are rethinking their plans. I mean, Seattle's been playing terribly. I don't think they're going to be trading anything, but them playing terribly bring some teams like Houston back into the mix. So maybe they're not going to be trading their pieces. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all breaks down, because I think there may not be as many teams trading as Miami might have liked, and that may mean they need to pay a little bit more in prospects for some of the players that they may want. We'll see. We've got plenty of time to talk about all of that. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun deadline making our way through. One last thing before we go. And, this past weekend I had a chance. I was traveling. I was up in the Northeast visiting family and friends. And I got a chance to hear some of the sports talk radio up there. And specifically, I got to hear some of the sports talk out of Philly. And I don't want to say I was surprised, because I really wasn't, but I think Miami fans would be interested to know that they don't take the Marlins seriously at all. Not one bit. It's like your kid brother down the block who's playing the same game as you and seems to be doing well, but you don't really take them seriously. And that's kind of the way they talk about Miami. That's the way they talk about the Marlins right now. The Miami is obviously right there, right behind the Phillies in the division. They were tied with them for a while there before this past weekend. There's no respect, none whatsoever, for what the Marlins have done. They talk about the fact that they went on this incredible run in June and that they've been the hottest team in baseball since June 1st, like it's cute. Like it's like, oh, good for them. Great story. Nice to see it. They're never going to keep it up. Well, you know what? Let's see if they can keep it up. I hope somebody lets the Marlins know how the Phillies, at least maybe there's a little bit of chalkboard material there for them, or a little bit for them to talk about. I mean, look, I don't know if the Phillies themselves feel that way, but I highly doubt it, because they're professionals. But I think maybe the rest of, because I did see a lot of people talking about what the Marlins had done here, and it was basically like, good for them. Very nice. It's like, no. I think you might want to pay a little bit more attention to what this team's been able to do with very little. with a small payroll and lack of star power and put themselves in a position where they are right there for a playoff spot, in a playoff spot as we sit here at the end of the first half. So I hope that Miami just keeps playing well. I hope the Marlins continue to keep this going, because it will just force more and more people to pay attention, and it will just force more and more people to show the team a little bit more respect than they've been given over the past couple of weeks. So listen, great first half. We've got a lot more to talk about this week on Marlins Daily. The draft just took place. I got a lot of thoughts on who the Marlins chose. We're going to talk about that this week. Also going to talk a little bit about first half grades. Going to break down what we think about everybody and who's done well, who's done badly. And as I mentioned, we're going to get into the trade deadline options, because now Miami's buying. So who should they go out and buy? We're going to talk about that. I want to hear from all of you. A reminder, like and subscribe right now here on YouTube. And I want to hear some comments. Let me know what you think about all of this. Let me know what you think about how Miami's doing. We got a lot of great shows coming up this week right here on Marlins Daily. Thanks, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow.